This is one of the quotes I really, really love because I fundamentally am an execution guy. I believe everything is in execution. Long time back, 15 years back, I did go to Stanford. One of the biggest things out of all the 2 years of learning from Stanford was if you cannot execute, there's no reason to just ideate and think about the future. So this quote has lived with me for probably 15 years now. So I believe that the best way to imagine a future is to just create it, small things. I connect with that one habit at a day, right, Rahul? So do things on the fly, right? So my name is Venu. I'm from Bangalore, India. I'm an engineer by trade, mechanical engineer. Did my stint of building aircrafts, light combat aircrafts for Indian Air Force. That was my first job. Typically, my dad thought I will work there and retire there, like any typical South Indian family, 9 to 5. If you get a job, you stick with it, you better retire there. But I had some other ideas. The computer software boom was happening in India, 94, 95. I said like, okay, let me train myself to be a software engineer. Then I migrated to US in 97. Over the next 16 years in the US, did all kinds of product and technology stints, consulting to CRM to platforms, everything around products, around capital markets and stuff like that. So all my life, I've always been a technology and a product guy. And I truly love innovating at the intersection of things. I believe we have people don't innovate new things, but if I intersect two things and create something in between, a true innovation happens. So that's who I am. 2013 is when I came back to India. That's when a different story of mine as an entrepreneur emerged. I'll take you through that. When I came back to India, the biggest thing, the whole reason to come back to India was my wife is a crazy person. I have no shame saying that. She's the reason why we came back. Otherwise, I would have had this $1 million, 2 dogs, 2 kids, Bay Area, life is settled, American dream. Why you want to throw all that and come back? Because when we had our first kid, I think something happens in women where they ask the question of why am I on this earth? Why did I bring this human being to the earth, right? So she started asking that question and she said, I want to create a better world, and that better world is in the soil. So I want to become a farmer. I want to draw. She was a analyst in Novartis. So she has seen the other side of the world where you see all kind of crazy things. So she said, I want to go back to being a farmer. So we came back to India. We created this farm. It's like 20, 30 kilometers away from my home. From the last 10 years, we eat what we grow. We live there 4 days, 3 days in the city. It has given me a very different flavor of what materialistically, what I thought was life to what is real life is, right? I think unless until you test the soil, I don't think you realize how powerful it is. It is so easy to say anything, but doing everything on your own. This is a 10-acre farm. Everything is done by us. There's no help, no nothing, right? So thanks to our craziness, I was exposed to this. So this care for environment created our home. While we were doing that, I think midlife crisis, you become very spiritual. You explore all the unanswered question of your life, right? So hence we got into this aspect of what there's a philanthropist and a spiritual leader called Jiddu Krishnamurti, JD. I think there's a school. The school is in US, UK, India, and everything. It's an experiential learning school. So we got very excited about it because it's a school education system is completely gone out of whack. So we believe that education needs to be held accountable by the parents, cannot be outsourced. So we opened up a school where there are 50 students now. It is a parent-run school. Sorry, before that, this is my wife and kid supporting our craziness. So this is the school we run. It's an experienced children's school. This is my son. 50 students, 100 parents. 100 parents are the teachers. Imagine the power of that. So there's no teachers. We teach. So one guy is a good in Spanish. Maybe if Rahul kind of a person comes, probably he will teach blockchain. Imagine what we can teach our kids in an experiential setup. So that's what the school is about. My son is now 14 years old. He truly cannot write or read, literally. I'm not kidding. But he can build an entire building on his own, including plumbing, including true stuff. He can build carpentry products like there is no tomorrow. So he's already a creative and engineer, but he doesn't understand thermodynamics. So be it. He doesn't understand trigonometry. He will learn when he wants to learn. That's the whole aspect of it, right? So there are no exams, there is no grades, there is no principle, there is no values, there is no hierarchy. So it's a free-spirited school. So I think that passion for creating better human beings influence our lifestyle. So our lifestyle is around farming, education, and of course, business. That's 30% of the life. So I run this agency called Langoor, where I told you, wherever things intersect, I get very excited. So Langoor is a digital transformation agency where creativity intersects with data, intersects with technology. That's what I'm good at. 2013 is when we came back to India. So I've been running this now for 8-9 years. I've sold a couple of years back, I've sold this to a global giant. We are at a good place where we keep growing, etc., etc. In between 2013 and now, when I was putting this up, I realized that I built 2 companies and sold. Truly, I had forgotten about it. So when I was building this slide, I said, oh, okay, 2015, I built and sold a company called Pensar, which is a design thinking consulting firm, India's first and largest design thinking firm within a year. Because I was working for Intuit, and they ingrained in me everything in his life about design thinking. You can solve any problem using design thinking. So I took that up and built a business. That intersection of design and business is what I did, and sold it off within a year. And then I got excited with this intersection of software and hardware, right? So that we created what IoT consulting agency, Internet of Things, in 2018, and built and sold. Now, while I'm running Langoor, I'm trying to chase a thing called Nuseum, where intersection of physical and digital comes together. That's where the blockchain, the NFTs, and the meta is coming in. That's what I'm chasing now. So it's being opportunist, being very bold, being very courageous to do things outside while there is a core business that is running. That's my experience. I wanted to see with all of this. I've been a corporate guy. I've been an entrepreneur. I bought in my capacity, built and sold companies. In that, I wanted to construct what are my learnings. What did I learn out of all of this, and what is the common factor that made it? Some of them successful, some of them failed. Is I realized that in order to be good at these things, I need to create people with shared vision. Period. It's all comes down to culture. I think 10 years back, 8 years back, when I used to sit with this, when my bosses used to say, when I used to listen to a lot of these things, I as a normal person, I always say this is bullshit, right? Or culture. I think if you get your things right, culture doesn't mean anything. I've come a full circle. I've realized if you create a courageous culture and brave leaders, you can really, really, really embark on anything. That's fundamentally it. And in that piece, I said there are only 3 things that helped me build these courageous cultures and brave leaders. And what are those? When I was introspecting myself, I realized there are 3 things that comes. The first one was That's why I called this topic, as when Vikram was telling me to come and share some insights, I said ABC. Immediately it came. And the first one is being authentic. In order to create a courageous culture, it's being authentic. When I was unraveling what this authenticity means, I realized that in order to bring the shared vision together, I need to create connections with people. That is by default. I need to, Rahul, as you said, I think it has to come like, I care for you genuinely, irrespective of whether we do great business, I create output for you or whatever. I need to create connection in order to sell a shared vision. And in order to create connection, I need to deal with my shame. That's what I realized. So the shame is, oh, I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not a good CEO. I'm not rich enough. I'm not good at negotiation. All those are my shames as a leader. If I hold that, and because of them, if this shame, if I believe that I'm not worthy enough for connections, I fail as a leader, right? So in order to overcome shame and create connections, I need to be seen as for who I am. I suck at certain things. I'm good at certain things. I need to tell that to my team. From day one, I tell my team that like, I suck at negotiating. Okay. You think I'm a smart guy who knows the answer? I don't know 9 out of 10 times the answer. I'm bullshitting most of the times for what it is. So I need to be seen who I am. I need to be very authentic and vulnerable. That's what I realized. The more authentic and vulnerable I am, the better connections I can create with people. And that connections leads to them believing that this is a shared vision, period and simple. That was the A of me, right? B was balanced. This was a tough one. This is like, we all deal with so many moving parts. How do I balance? How do I balance culture to purpose, to goals, to strategy, to the climate we are dealing with, to the execution we will do, to the systems, to the process, to the structure, to the values? How do I balance all of this? There is no simple formula. You keep learning every day and you say, this is the bet, this is the balance. Oh, okay. One day I will compromise this versus this versus this. One day I'm going to compromise a system against a process, right? I realize that nothing is hard rails. I need to learn, adapt, and balance. That was my second biggest thing. And the third biggest thing was my favorite one. All along, I remember the first 15th day I went to US. I used to work for Citibank data center. So I used to run the IT systems. And when the system goes down, you knew that is called a severity one problem. You fix it. And the next day morning, you need to go in front of 50 people who are the leaders to explain why this problem happened and how we have fixed the root cause. So the first 15th day in the US, I was made responsible to address this. And I went there and I just froze. I first of all, it was a new country, new people, new culture. I just froze. I couldn't even open my mouth. Sorry, somebody's, yeah.
So, yeah, we got Vikram, he mute that? But yeah.
Yes. So for me, I was so embarrassed and ashamed. I remember a person who was my boss then. He said like, okay, let's deal with it like this. I'm going to stand with you. You do a little talk. I will do some talk. So he recreated this meeting the next day. He called the same 50 people. He set up the same thing and he helped me through it. So for me, it was not about the fear of running away. It's being courageous. From then on, I was thinking, what does this sense of courage means? How do I create this brave culture in people just to accept them for who they are? This is different than authentic, right? So when I was exploring that courage, the car comes from Latin word called art. So anybody who has this wholeheartedness to tell their story, tell their views, are courageous people. It's as simple. Courageous is not about being brave to do things. Courageous is just my myself and my story in a wholeheartedness, I'm going to face the situation. Courageous is to be imperfect. Courageous to be take a leap to future. Courageous to lead people in uncertainties. Courageous to be very call the risk for what it is. So for me, that was very, very important. So end of the day, with all of this, I realized, oh, if I am authentic, if I am real, if I am balanced, if I am courageous, and if I am very open, even today, pretty much entire employees of Langoor knows how much money we make, how much revenues we make, who makes what. I think fundamentally that creates trust. Fundamentally, that is being authentic. There's nothing to hide. That's why, Rahul, I like when you call people of your competitors to your board meetings, that's out of this world, right? So for me, all of this comes and creates this brave leadership and a courageous culture. If in some form, if we do this in pockets also, I believe we can create something better, something connected, and something good. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys. And I'm open for any questions here.
Oh, that was awesome.
That was great, man.
Thank you very much.
I'll start off, and while I do, I do want questions. First thing, so when you decided to move back, very courageous on going back, right? I see my dad's on the phone. He kind of waited until we became adults and then decided he fell in love with India. So what went on in your head, kind of immigrating to America, not that part, but on going back, and you said your wife was like, hey, let's go and, like buy a farm. Yeah.
For me, it was, I think, true acceptance without any pressure. I think that was the difference. I've seen 20 of my friends who came back, I think 3 months to 12 months, they just couldn't deal with and went. For me, there was some switch. I just landed here. I didn't complain about anything. Of course, if I open it up, there are 1,000 things I can complain. There was a genuine acceptance saying we should give a good shot at it. We didn't come with a plan of saying, if this didn't work, I need to go back. We didn't go into this expat community where you create another small America there. We said, we are here. We will be mainstream. We will go. We will eat things from day one on the side of the street. And this is the life we lead. And then the switch just boom, Rahul. It just went completely out.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. I mean, in a sense, Vikram did this, and then I did a little bit. Vikram has been out in India he hasn't been back to America in 2 years. Is it 2 years? It's 2 years.
It'll be 2 years next month. Yeah. Wow. It'll be 2 years next month that I've been in India.
And Bridge did this a little bit. My dad, and so I just want to talk about this because in many ways, India is, you talk about the promised land of New America. A lot of people immigrated, and a lot of Indian immigrants moved back. George is also on the call. George lived in Bangladesh a little bit. So, but what was, other than the fact that the love of the country you grew up in, do you see more opportunity in a sense? Are you trying to help fix stuff? Like there's a lot of reasons why. I want to go deeper into, did you think you'd start a business when you went back? I guess, there's a bunch of questions there, but like when you went back, it was just kind of like you opened doors and whatever opened up. Yeah. Did you just kind of explore around? How did that happen?
No, for some reason, I think midway through my career, I realized I want to be an entrepreneur, but I took a while to shake off the middle class mentality, which we have grown with, of saying, you're not supposed to take risk. You're not supposed to chase anything. If life is decent, just stay with it, right? So, but fundamentally, I always wanted to create something of my own, right? And I felt that in 2013, I think the wind was shifting towards India from a macroeconomics perspective, and it was starting to boom. So it was the right time. So that means if you're open for any doors to opportunities and doors to open, it was there in India. That I think that it worked out very well. If it was few years before and or now, it may be a different story, but opportunities definitely played on the mind. And then you see the expansions you can do, and also now you can you have the flexibility to do something about things you care about. For example, the farm. What started as a farm now has reached a inflection point of water activism with my wife. So me and her, in the last 8 years, I've gone and recorded entire South India, all the rivers, complete from source to end into the ocean, every point where it is getting polluted, how it is getting polluted, what is the water quality. Nobody asked this. So 8 years. So now finally we are now going against the government, doing PILs, which is fighting against the government to say water has a right and Indians have the right for quality water. So that comes because we went to the soil, we realized, oh, so nothing works in soil if there is no water. So it went on like that. So if there are large problems to be solved, but your core needs to be strong, until then you can't jump into this. That's what I realized.
No, this is awesome. And there's so many stuff there. I want to open up another question, but so I feel like a lot of overlapping themes are that a lot of people is called that there's some love for India. We want to make India better. And it's kind of like a big question. Where do you start? Pollution, water, poverty, healthcare, education.
I think thanks to the team, and actually we have come a long way. If you have good leaders who are 9 out of 10 times are running the show for you, you don't have the core problem. I think the first few years I failed so miserably because I am a control freak. I want to do everything on my own. I don't trust people very easily. So 8 years of running this, I realized I need to trust. I need to let go. There's a reason why Saurabh is laughing, because 5 years back he joined, 6 years back he joined. I think first 2 years, I think he would be thinking, what the hell is this? I used to give him exact directions of saying, do this, do this, do this. Don't think, don't go this side or that side. Right now, at least I'm in a place where saying, okay, it's your show, you do it, right? So hence it becomes very good mind space to deal with certain things. So from a work perspective, it's probably in a week, 3 days of work, 1 day of really hiking, mapping with wife, half a day to 1 day totally with the kid, and probably 1 day for all the businesses. I think generally that's how it is structured. Oh, okay, of course. So that's another story. That's a funny story. Did you get any threats from anyone? So we have 6 PILs against the governments now. So I have 2 bodyguards for my wife. It's not even a joke now, because the politicians to local guys. But my wife I told you, she's a crazy one. There's one life. If you cannot live for passion, for what you want to and impact, there's no reason.
I don't think you'll ever really retire, but is retirement just hang out on your farm? What's your long-term goal? Let's say 10, 15 years from now,
So it's very simple. I think maybe I'll keep doing some unique things and consulting things. So now she has gotten into a place where she wants to create a forest, it's almost a very large piece of land. So as a conservationist, so we have started that process. It's 200 kilometers from Bangalore. So the idea is do some consulting work, just go, be there. That's it. That's about it. That's the plan.
And what is actually, I love it. So I've actually heard stuff like, eco tourism, land conservation. What is the idea that in India people would be buying land and make sure it never gets developed?
Yes. So okay. I think in last 5 years, things have changed, to be honest. I think somewhere, because our core, what we call as roti kapda makan is set, people are saying, okay, all right, I think I can contribute. I've seen in pockets where people have bought hundreds of acres, multiple people, they're creating eco forests on their own. So I think as a community, as a responsible citizens, that awakening is happening. Not enough, but that's happening for sure. Because when we started the school, Rahul, 2013, we were called elitists, saying that, oh, you can do this, you're an elitist, so you're almost like a cult, okay? But now there are probably 20 such schools in Bangalore alone, and people are fighting for putting their kids. So we have moved from academic smartness country to slowly towards, okay, there needs to be a holistic human being learning, slowly but steadily.
So what about the regular education system? The degree or MBA or whatever the regular education system we have here now? So
Yeah.
are you not compromising with his career or education?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the thought process is until you're 14, 15, we will create the foundational curiosity of kids' mind to learn. I think if you put that, if he chooses saying that I need to do an MBA, the school will create a path for that. If somebody chooses, I want to be engineer, the school chooses the path. But in the end of the day, after 15 years, they need to come to the mainstream of taking board exams and all of that. But until then, they're not exposed to it, so that there is no comparison in their mind. And people see, oh, what is the proof that this will work? This has been working from last 80 years, this experiential learning school. So the best of the best minds are coming out of those schools. People don't talk about it because it's completely away from thinking.
It's unconventional. It's unconventional.
Yeah, it's unconventional. So they don't go and taunt saying that I came from this kind of experiential learning school, because it's against the belief system itself. So
but it's also, it started with Jiddu Krishnamurti like back in the 20s, right? Or 30s.
Brockwood, 1920s, Brockwood, Jiddu Krishnamurti. So,
Yeah.
and Rishi Valley in LA. So it's a fairly well-known thingy.
It is, and it's entirely Indian. I mean, from what I know, you also draw from the Montessori school philosophy a little bit, and a few others, but this came at that time. Also, Shantiniketan, Rabindranath Tagore's school and his system also came from that same group of.
It is very fulfilling to see a kid truly enjoy rather than seriously running trigonometry and algebra at 11 years, which we have learned, never applied in our lives. So it's such a joy to see the true learning.
Yeah. Well,
by the way, Shubha's awesome, Venu. She has been working. She was like basically one of the very first people at NIN, 2003, 2002,
2004, Rahul.
2004. It's so long ago, it's escaping me, and really kind of helped build NIN, health services. Obviously Bridge leads it, but she's like one of our very first people, and she's a leader there, and she's awesome.
That's the first company you did, right, Rahul?
Yeah, the first company I started, it's called Ayon, and it basically, Shubha will remember this. It was just basically like me and Shubha and like 3 or 4 other people in a room, was just kind of doing stuff, and then this is before Freedom started. This is before Brave and ZebPay. Yeah, yeah, she's amazing. Yeah, she's also been to America many times. She goes back and forth, but yeah. Thanks, Shubha. I'm sure you have a ton of. Feel free to ask Venu questions. He's here, right? Do you have any other questions?
Hey, Venu, I have another question related to your school system. So this kind of experience learning schools, do you with the experience, do you see any limitations or some kind of a restriction on the size of the classroom that the kids share, so that your focus and concentration are much better, or does it go like any other school, routine school? What is the size of the pupil you
max 50 to 100 bridge, because the moment you go, you just somehow unknowingly get very commercialized and go into the mainstream. So I know it's not, that's one thing I also struggle with. Why can't many people be part of it? But practicality of it is, it requires a lot of attention and the nowness with the kid. And it is because you cannot outsource, you need to be part of it. You cannot say, I will give 50,000 rupees for a teacher and we will hire her to teach something. It doesn't work. That's what we have seen, right? So it's a limited 50, 100 student setup, but can be replicated in pockets, but not this way, Rich.
Great. Good to hear that, Venu. Great. Thank you.
But I have a question. I mean, you say, I just find it how you have time today. You say you grow, on the farm, the food, you kind of do it yourself. Like, how did you learn how to farm? Like, I would imagine farming is like a full-time job. And you do this.
4 years, literally, my wife lived there. I used to go back and forth from the city. She did it. I was the weekend farmer who was the wingman who will run at, she will say like, go run and she didn't know nothing. Okay, nothing. She couldn't figure out, is it a male goat or a female goat? She couldn't figure out what's this versus that, right? So she learned everything, experimenting, build, destroy, build, destroy, build, destroy. I think the first 4 years of every time she walked in the house, the smell of cow dung used to follow her for days. Okay, so but after 4 years, it's finally we can say, okay, we know stuff, but it's not easy. It's absolutely not easy.
That's amazing. Yeah. And then you kind of farm stuff. Do you also, does it kind of lose money in a sense, or do you also then sell stuff to the local community?
It always loses money. Absolutely no way you will. So it's self-sustenance, that's all. So whatever is extra, we just bring it, we keep it, and people come and pick it up. The first few years we try to say like, hey, at least let's some money to maintain. It just doesn't work. I think the people mindset is so that, like, if you think it's this, so one of the thing was we used to grow mangoes. Okay, so we used to bring a lot of extra stuff and keep it and say like, hey, this mango, so you can buy it. So the first question people used to ask, why is this mango a different shape than this mango? Why is this small and this big? People are so used to it, Rahul, seeing similar objects everywhere. They cannot bring their mind to buy this. Me and my wife used to say like, guys, this is probably the best freaking mango. Come on. No, it doesn't look right. It doesn't smell right. I said, why go through all of this? Just take it. So it's crazy.
I love it. So I mean, so you just do a taste test. So that's cool. So and then how do you decide what to farm now? Like, is just whatever you're in the mood to farm?
Whatever that grows. Yeah. So another story. So whatever that grows is another problem. That means if it's a season of brinjal, I'm eating 21 days brinjal at home. I don't have any goddamn
That's
choice.
Wild, man.
That's it.
Yeah. You're just eating it.
Serious, man. But I've gotten used to it. So it's like what grows is what you eat.
That's what they did 1,000 years ago. Like there's no Uber Eats. There's no Swiggy. You're eating what's coming out of the ground.
My 14-year-old, every time the dinner is put on the table, the eyes gets rolled now. It's like, oh.
I do guarantee your 14-year-old is not going to live this life. He's gonna be like, he's gonna go live in Tokyo and eat sushi or something.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Funny.
Do you allow visitors to come and see your school or your farm?
Yeah, a lot of people. Okay. I think we do our all-hands, we do our team meetings, everything in the farm.
Oh, that's nice.
Nice. Saurabh, Sridhar, a lot of people. I mean, we go pretty regularly. This is our hangout place.
awesome. So my parents have a farm in Hyderabad. Bridge, I don't know if I see my mom's on the phone, but like, we should go learn. I mean, you can do a lot of stuff. But we should have more anion outings at our farm and stuff like that. We should like the cool thing about being the farm is you're people who haven't been in India. I know George's been in Bangladesh, but like there's a lot more pollution in the city, right? And when you go further out, it's just there's a dramatic difference between when you're in America, let's say in your city, and you're in a farm, it is less. But like when you're in India in the city, you're in a farm, it's a huge difference in how you breathe and how you feel.
Yeah.
And so, so then just another kind of quite quick question for me is it so you said you kind of spend half time here, half time there. Is it kind of like for you? It's kind of when you're working, like kind of weekdays in the city and weekends in the farm.
Thursday night, generally you go and come back on Monday morning, but this COVID and everything, yes, everything has shifted. So you might as well. Now I'm saying and trying to avoid to go permanently move there.
And I mean, in the old days, like 20 years ago, I mean, you have good, I'm assuming, internet and electricity and everything's out there. Yeah.
2 years, it has become so well that you can work completely out of that. There's no reason to live in the city now anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm a little bit of a social animal, so I'm resisting the final move. So that's a great thought, Vikram. So I think last June is when I literally first heard about NFT, right? And when we were doing ZebPay a year and a half back is when we got literally introduced to the crypto world. So one of the aspects of curiosity is the true obsession that has to come with curiosity, right? So the amount of courses, the kind of readings, Saurabh is saying, oh my God. So for some reason, for me, it's like, if I get in that, I better know everything they're supposed to know, right? So that curiosity led me to read on NFT and how it is done now, how it is connected and everything. So 1 month later, we said like, okay, here is a new idea. I learned everything that is supposed to be learned in my mind. Let's build a business. Let's build a business of digital collectibles. Let's build a business of content monetization. Let's build a business of creators' value and things like that. That's how this idea got generated. Right, that's turning into business now. So the platform is getting built and the business models are getting built. But immediately halfway through, we said like, oh, okay, now it's an overused term. So how do I pivot? Oh, if I want to pivot, now I need to understand something else, meta. Oh, okay, now let's get it. So afternoon, we just came from a pitch for automobile, large automobile company in India, and we were determining a plan of meta for them. In order to do that, you better know everything about meta. So for me, the curiosity of what we teach the kids, I think it stays with you, and it keeps probably pinging you inside, saying like, if you want to do this, learn more. If you want to do this, learn more. If you want to do that, sincere obsession needs to be there, Vikram. That's what I've realized. I think my team hates me on that. If I get on one, I just go so deep, forget everything, go deep. So one of the things that stuck with me 2 weeks back when we spoke, this is supposed to be free and open environment, right? So it's like, how do I bring that elements into the platform of Nuseum? And why should there be a barrier for any poor creator to enter into this world? I think if you somewhere that balance of passion and meaningful impact with true business, if I somewhere figure it out, I think there are opportunities. I think you cannot be only purpose driven. You cannot be only value driven. It's somewhere in between. Yeah. So.
Yeah, exactly. It's the interconnection of all these things.
Yes.
So for people who want to learn more about this, obviously, you can just Google NFT and Wikipedia, but like OpenSea has some cool stuff. I would say Brave. If you download Brave browser, there's some really cool things that you can learn about tokens and wallets and things like that. So, but awesome, Venu. I'm gonna hand over to Vikram to kind of wrap up, and then so this is really cool stuff.
Thank you very much for your time. Thanks for having the patience to listen to the story. First thing was how can we monetize fame? A lot of people don't have the luxury to do that. So how can creators' fame can be monetized? NFT is a vehicle to it. I think that's how it will work. I think I think in maybe a couple of weeks or so, I can do another one going deep into
that would, because I think how can we monetize fame is maybe the title of your TED talk.